Section 12 of English Synonyms and Antonyms. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Dennis Sayers. English Synonyms and Antonyms by James Champlin Fernald. Babble to because. Babble. Synonyms: blab, blurt, blurt out, cackle, chat, chatter, gabble, gossip, jabber, murmur, palaver, prate, prattle, tattle, twaddle. Most of these words are onomatopoeic. The cackle of a hen, the gabble of a goose, the chatter of a magpie, the babble of a running stream, as applied to human speech, indicate a rapid succession of what are to the listener meaningless sounds. Blab and blurt, commonly blurt out, refer to the letting out of what the lips can no longer keep in. Blab, of a secret. Blurt out, of passionate feeling. To chat is to talk in an easy, pleasant way, not without sense, but without special purpose. Chatting is the practice of adults, prattling that of children. To prate is to talk idly, presumptuously, or foolishly, but not necessarily incoherently. To jabber is to utter a rapid succession of unintelligible sounds, generally more noisy than chattering. To gossip is to talk of petty, personal matters, as for pastime or mischief. To twaddle is to talk feeble nonsense. To murmur is to utter suppressed or even articulate sounds, suggesting the notes of a dove or the sound of a running stream, and is used figuratively of the half of suppressed utterances of affection or pity, or of complaint, resentment, etc. Compare SPEAK. Prepositions: babies babble for the moon. The crowd babbles of a hero. The sick man babbles of home. Banish. Synonyms: ban, discharge, dislodge, dismiss, drive out, eject, evict, exile, expatriate, expel, ostracize, oust. Banish, primarily to put under ban, to compel by authority to leave a place or country, perhaps with restriction to some other place or country. From a country a person may be banished, exiled, or expatriated. Banished from any country where he may happen to be, but expatriated or exiled only from his own. One may expatriate or exile himself. He is banished by others. Banish is a word of wide import. One may banish disturbing thoughts. Care may banish sleep. To expel is to drive out with violence or rudeness, and so often with disgrace. Prepositions: Catiline was banished from Rome. John the Apostle was banished to Patmos. Bank. Synonyms: beach, border, bound, brim, brink, coast, edge, marge, margin, rim, shore, strand. Bank is a general term for the land along the edge of a watercourse. It may also denote a raised portion of the bed of a river, lake, or ocean, as the banks of Newfoundland. A beach is a strip or expanse of incoherent, wave-worn sand, which is often pebbly or full of boulders. We speak of the beach of a lake or ocean. A beach is sometimes found in the bend of a river. Strand is a more poetic term for a wave-washed shore, especially as a place for landing or embarking, as the keel grates on the strand. The whole line of a country or continent that borders the sea is a coast. Shore is any land, whether cliff or sand, or marsh, bordering water. We do not speak of the coast of a river, nor the banks of the ocean, though there may be banks by or under the sea. Edge is the line where land and water meet, as the water's edge. Brink is the place from which one may fall, as the river's brink, the brink of a precipice, the brink of ruin. Banter. Synonyms: badinage, chaff, derision, irony, jeering, mockery, raillery, ridicule, sarcasm, satire. Banter is the touching upon some fault, weakness, or fancied secret of another in a way half to pique and half to please. Badinage is delicate, refined banter. Raillery has more sharpness, but is usually good-humored and well-meant. Irony, the saying one thing that the reverse may be understood, may be either mild or bitter. All the other words have a hostile intent. Ridicule makes a person or thing the subject of contemptuous merriment. Derision seeks to make the object derided seem utterly despicable, to laugh it to scorn. Chaff is the coarse witticism of the streets, perhaps merry, oftener malicious. Jeering is loud, rude ridicule, as of a hostile crowd or mob. Mockery is more studied, and may include mimicry and personal violence, as well as scornful speech. A satire is a formal composition. A sarcasm may be an impromptu sentence. The satire shows up follies to keep people from them. The sarcasm hits them because they are foolish, without inquiring whether it will do good or harm. The satire is plainly uttered, the sarcasm is covert. Barbarous. Synonyms: atrocious, barbarian, barbaric, brutal, cruel, inhuman, merciless, rude, savage, uncivilized, uncouth, untamed. Whatever is not civilized is barbarian. Barbaric indicates rude magnificence, uncultured richness, as barbaric splendor, a barbaric melody. Barbarous refers to the worst side of barbarian life, and to revolting acts, especially of cruelty, such as a civilized man would not be expected to do, as a barbarous deed. We may, however, say barbarous nations, barbarous tribes, without implying anything more than want of civilization and culture. Savage is more distinctly bloodthirsty than barbarous. In this sense we speak of a savage beast, and of barbarous usage. Antonyms: civilized, courtly, cultured, delicate, elegant, graceful, humane, nice, polite, refined, tender, urbane. barrier. Synonyms: bar, barricade, breastwork, bulwark, hindrance, obstacle, obstruction, parapet, prohibition, rampart, restraint, restriction. A bar is something that is or may be firmly fixed, ordinarily with intent to prevent entrance or egress, as the bars of a prison cell, the bars of a wood-lot. A barrier obstructs, but is not necessarily impassable. Barrier is used of objects more extensive than those to which bar is ordinarily applied. A mountain range may be a barrier to exploration, but a mass of sand across the entrance to a harbor is called a bar. Discovered falsehood is a bar to confidence. A barricade has become practically a technical name for an improvised street fortification, and, unless in some way modified, is usually so understood. A parapet is a low or breast-high wall, as about the edge of a roof, terrace, etc., especially in military use, such a wall for the protection of troops. A rampart is the embankment surrounding a fort, on which the parapet is raised. The word rampart is often used as including the parapet. Bulwark is a general word for any defensive wall or rampart. Its only technical use at present is in nautical language, where it signifies the raised side of a ship above the upper deck, topped by the rail. Compare boundary, impediment. Antonyms: admittance, entrance, opening, passage, road, thoroughfare, transit, way. Prepositions: a barrier to progress, against invasion, a barrier between nations. Battle. Synonyms: action, affair, bout, combat, conflict, contest, encounter, engagement, fight, passage of arms, skirmish, strife. Conflict is a general word which describes opponents, whether individuals or hosts, as dashed together. One continuous conflict between entire armies is a battle. Another battle may be fought upon the same field after a considerable interval, or a new battle may follow immediately the armies meeting upon a new field. An action is brief and partial. A battle may last for days. Engagement is a somewhat formal expression for battle, as it was the commander's purpose to avoid a general engagement. A protracted war, including many battles, may be a stubborn contest. Combat, originally a hostile encounter between individuals, is now used also for extensive engagements. A skirmish is between small detachments or scattered troops. An encounter may be either purposed or accidental, between individuals or armed forces. Fight is a word of less dignity than battle. We should not ordinarily speak of Waterloo as a fight, unless where the word is used in the sense of fighting, as I was in the thick of the fight. Antonyms: armistice, concord, peace, suspension of hostilities, truce. Prepositions: a battle of giants, battle between armies, a battle for life, against invaders, a battle to the death, the battle of, more rarely, at Marathon. Beat. Synonyms: bastinado, batter, belabor, bruise, castigate, chastise, conquer, cudgel, defeat, flog, overcome, pommel, pound, scourge, smite, spank, strike, surpass, switch, thrash, vanquish, whip, and worst. Strike is the word for a single blow. To beat is to strike repeatedly, as a bird beats the air with its wings. Others of the above words describe the manner of beating, as bastinado, to beat on the soles of the feet; belabor, to inflict a comprehensive and exhaustive beating; cudgel, to beat with a stick; thrash, as wheat was beaten out with the old hand flail; to pound, akin to Latin pondus, a weight, is to beat with a heavy, and pommel with a blunt instrument. To batter and to bruise refer to the results of beating; that is battered which is broken or defaced by repeated blows on the surface. Compare synonyms for shatter. That is bruised which has suffered even one severe contusion. The metaphorical sense of beat, however, so far preponderates that one may be very badly bruised and battered, and yet not be said to be beaten, unless he has got the worst of the beating. To beat a combatant is to disable or dishearten him for further fighting. Hence, beat becomes the synonym for every word which implies getting the advantage of another. Compare conquer. Antonyms: fail, fall, get the worst of, go down, go under, surrender. Almost all antonyms in this class are passive, and can be formed indefinitely from the conquering words by the use of the auxiliary be, as be beaten, be defeated, be conquered, etc. Prepositions: beat with a stick, over the head; beat by a trick, out of town; beat to the ground, into submission. Beautiful. Synonyms: attractive, beauteous, bewitching; bonny, charming, comely, delightful; elegant, exquisite; fair, fine, graceful; handsome, lovely, picturesque, pretty. The definition of beauty, perfection of form, is a good key to the meaning of beautiful if we understand form in its widest sense. There must also be harmony and unity, and in human beings spiritual loveliness, to constitute an object or a person really beautiful. Thus we speak of a beautiful landscape, a beautiful poem, but beautiful implies also, in concrete objects, softness of outline and delicacy of mold. It is opposed to all that is hard and rugged. Hence we say a beautiful woman, but not a beautiful man. Beautiful has the further limit of not transcending our powers of appreciation. Pretty expresses in a far less degree that which is pleasing to a refined taste in objects comparatively small, slight, and dainty, as a pretty bonnet, a pretty girl. That is handsome which is not only superficially pleasing, but well and harmoniously proportioned, with usually the added idea that it is made so by art, breeding, or training, as a handsome horse, a handsome house. Handsome is a term far inferior to beautiful. We may even say a handsome villain. Fair denotes what is bright, smooth, clear, and without blemish, as a fair face. The word applies wholly to what is superficial. We can say fair, yet false. In a specific sense, fair has the sense of blonde, as opposed to dark or brunette. One who possesses vivacity, wit, good nature, or other pleasing qualities may be attractive without beauty. Comely denotes an aspect that is smooth, genial, and wholesome, with a certain fullness of contour and pleasing symmetry, though falling short of the beautiful, as a comely matron. That is picturesque which would make a striking picture. Antonyms: awkward, clumsy, deformed, disgusting, frightful, ghastly, grim, grisly, grotesque, hideous, horrid, odious, repulsive, shocking, ugly, unattractive, uncouth, ungainly, unlovely, unpleasant. Prepositions: beautiful to the eye, beautiful in appearance, in spirit, beautiful for situation. Psalm 48, verse 2. Beautiful of aspect, of its kind. Because. Synonyms: as, for, inasmuch as, since. Because, literally by cause, is the most direct and complete word for giving the reason of a thing. Since, originally denoting succession in time, signifies a succession in a chain of reasoning, a natural inference or result. As indicates something like coordinate, parallel. Since is weaker than because, as is weaker than since. Either may introduce the reason before the main statement. Thus, since or as you are going, I will accompany you. Often the weaker word is the more courteous, implying less constraint. For example, as you request it, I will come, rather than I will come because you request it. Inasmuch as is a formal and qualified expression, implying by just so much and no more. Thus, inasmuch as the debtor has no property, I abandon the claim. For is a loose connective, giving often mere suggestion or indication rather than reason or cause; as, it is morning, for (not because) the birds are singing. Antonyms: although, however, nevertheless, notwithstanding, yet. Compare the synonyms for but, notwithstanding. End of Section 12. Read by Dennis Sayers in Modesto, California, for LibriVox.